What up YouTube? My name is Arrow, and in today's video we're going to be checking out some of the saddest transmissions heard from pilots, being their last words before their plane had crashed. And I just want to take a moment and say prayers to those family members, and as well as friends of those family members that have lost their lives in those last two plane crashes. Prayers from us and our family. Other than that though, let's get to the video.
Imagine being thousands of feet in the air with everything seeming fine, until suddenly, it's not. In those final moments, as chaos unfolds and time slips away,
worst nightmare.
The voices from the cockpit tell a story of courage, fear, and heartbreak. These last words, spoken by pilots staring tragedy in the face, carry the weight of lives, hope, and unimaginable pressure. In this video, you'll hear 11 of the most haunting final transmissions, giving you a glimpse into the human spirit in the darkest of skies.
I'm really not ready for this, I don't think.
11. Western Airlines. Flight 2605, known as the Night Owl, was approaching Mexico City's fog-shrouded airport when it mistakenly attempted to land on a closed runway. Despite warnings from air traffic control, confusion in the cockpit led to the aircraft striking construction vehicles on the ground. The resulting crash left a trail of destruction and loss. The last words from this flight were,
bro, you can just hear the fear in his voice. Like, he knew that was it. 100%. That's so sad. Like, hearing these, I know is gonna be very, very distraughting. And like, oh man, I don't know. Probably might never ever fly again after this.
Northwest Airlines Flight 255. Let's start with Northwest Airlines Flight 255, which crashed on August 16, 1987, after taking off from Detroit Metro Airport. The pilots failed to extend the flaps and slats, causing the aircraft to stall shortly after takeoff. Of the 156 people on board, only a 4-year-old girl survived. In the final moments, the pilots were confused and desperately trying to figure out what went wrong. Unfortunately, they didn't realize the critical mistake that had been made in preparing the aircraft for takeoff.
I believe flaps are when the plane is coming in for landing, they're utilized to like slow down and give air draft to the plane. But I'm not quite sure on that, and I don't know like the real critical seas of that. I mean, if there is any pilots that watch this video, feel free to give a comment down in the description. You know how flaps affect planes. That would be honestly good to see and good information to read. Other than that, though, that's devastating. I mean, we're literally right after takeoff, and I'm assuming pre-check flight before they were even supposed to take off. Their flaps were supposed to be initiated as down, and well, not down, but up and ready to go. But I don't know. I'm not a pilot, so I'm not really quite sure what flaps do for a plane.
9. Polish Air Force Flight 101, April 10th, 2010. This flight carried Poland's president, his wife, and dozens of high-ranking officials. It was a solemn trip to commemorate a tragic historical event, but it turned into an unimaginable disaster. The Tupolev Tu-154 approached Smolensk Airport in heavy fog. Air traffic control repeatedly advised the pilots to divert to another airport due to low visibility, but the crew decided to proceed with the landing. As the runway remained invisible, tension in the cockpit grew.
No way.
The altimeter warning rang louder, signaling their rapid descent. Despite their training and experience, the pilots couldn't escape what was coming. The last words from this flight were,
"Ahead, terrain ahead, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, terrain ahead, terrain ahead, pull up, 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 pull up,
Or just hearing these people scream is like bone chilling, like to the core. That's absolutely terrifying, like hearing the last words of these pilots. The thing is though, I don't think he should have been landing in fog. Like even me, like even if I had like 10, 15, 20 years of pilotry, I wouldn't be landing in super dense fog. I mean, let alone like even driving in super dense fog, going 60 miles an hour with 5 feet of visibility, impossible. So going at 200 to 300 knots landing on a airstrip, there ain't no way.
8. TransAsia Airways, Flight 235.
TransAsia 235 Zhongshan Tower, due to initial separation, hold short runway 10 for landing traffic. Runway 10, TransAsia 235. 服务 runway 10。来 after runway 10, TransAsia 235. 235 runway 10, wind 1000 degree, 9 knots, clear for takeoff.
February 4th, 2015. Shortly after takeoff in
like
Taipei,
really recent,
TransAsia Airways Flight 235 suffered an engine failure. The pilots mistakenly shut down the remaining working engine, leaving the ATR-72 without power. The plane clipped a bridge and plunged into a river. In the cockpit, confusion reigned as the pilots tried to troubleshoot the problem, their urgency mounting with each passing second.
Wouldn't you want to keep
the last
like one of
words
those
from this
engines
flight
on,
were,
though? If one is fully operational?
Mayday, engine turned off. TransAsia 235, please try again, contact Taipei Airport, 2119.7. 235, Zhongshan Tower. 235, Zhongshan Tower.
They didn't even give a response because they were already gone, like the plane was already crashed. Like that'd be so like saddening as like an air traffic control, the person that you were just talking to, you just had an interaction with, all that kind of stuff. And you physically either hear them die or as well as you like watch it. And I feel like even the air traffic control for the last 2 plane crashes, even coming into that, are experiencing that same factor, like talking to that pilot before absolute destruction occurred. I mean, like that would be super hard, and I feel like dredging on an air traffic control dispatcher.
1, September 2, 1998. Swiss Air Flight 111 departed from New York, bound for Geneva. Midway over the Atlantic Ocean, a fire broke out in the cockpit, likely caused by faulty electrical wiring. At first, the crew attempted to troubleshoot the problem, believing they had time to divert to a nearby airport. But the situation quickly spiraled out of control. Thick smoke filled the cockpit, visibility dropped to nearly zero, and the fire caused critical systems to fail. The pilots' calm demeanor in the early minutes turned into urgency as they realized the gravity of their predicament. The final minutes were a race against time. The last words from this flight were,
Swiss Air 111, Roger. I turn right to proceed. You say to Boston you want to go?
I guess we need first the weather, so we start the right turn out. This is 111.
Like if fire were to break out in a cockpit, that'd be like my worst fear as a pilot, and crashing, because like the thing is like when you're in full control of a plane and all that, you can't just really step away or the whole plane will just start to evaporate downwards into a downward spiral, which is caused by gravity. But like I feel like there should have been somebody with a fire extinguisher at least trying and attempting to putting that out. I know pilots do lock their cabins though, and I think the only ones that are allowed in the cabin are your like crewmates and stuff like that. But I don't know, but I would think it is required by all airlines to carry fire extinguisher just for safety in general.
6.
ValueJet Flight 592. Next up, ValueJet Flight 592, which crashed into the Florida Everglades on May 11, 1996, shortly after departing from Miami, Florida. All 110 people on board died due to a fire in the cargo hold that rapidly spread, filling the cabin with smoke. The pilots, in their last moments, were desperately trying to turn the plane around and land. Their communication included,
Wind forward, guessing.
But they couldn't make it back to safety.
You could just hear the sadness in his voice, like knowing that was it. Wow, man. That ain't really a reality check. I don't know what it is. Like, don't take every day for granted. Like, because tomorrow's not promised for you. It never will be. Not promised for nobody. That's devastating.
5. Gull Flight, 1907. September 29th, 2006. Gull Flight 1907 was cruising above the Amazon rainforest when it collided mid-air with a business jet. Both planes were flying at the same altitude, a mistake caused by a breakdown in communication and navigation. The collision ripped off one of the Boeing 737's wings, instantly making the aircraft uncontrollable.
Oh my God.
Inside the cockpit, the pilots scrambled to understand what had happened. Alarms blared as the plane spiraled toward the dense jungle below. The black box revealed a chilling sequence of events filled with confusion, desperation, and attempts to regain control. The last words from this flight were,
That's terrifying. You can literally hear aircraft breaking up. It's absolutely insane. Like, you can hear every transmission to the T before that's it. Like, the radio goes silent after the final impact. The thing is with that, I mean, that's insane. And that happened more than likely from traffic control, and traffic control giving wrong, inaccurate, improper navigational sequences out to those planes, all that kind of stuff. I mean, things like that probably aren't as uncommon as we all think they are. And that's the one thing that we oversight, especially before flying with airlines and all that kind of stuff, or even taking a plane somewhere. You don't know if that's going to be it. So the thing is with that kind of stuff, I mean, that would be absolutely bone chilling. Seeing the wing get absolutely taken off on the passenger side, I couldn't even imagine what those passengers were thinking.
4.
Bergen Air Flight 301 crashed shortly after takeoff from the Dominican Republic on February 6, 1996. All 189 people on board died. The cause was a blocked pitot tube, which provided false airspeed readings, leading the plane to stall and crash into the Atlantic Ocean.
What kind of tube
The final words captured were a string of jumbled
Bro, it is bone chilling just hearing the plane scraping and just hitting things on the radio. Like, I don't even know how to describe that. Like, that's something that's real. Like, this is real life events right here that is happening. Like, I don't even know what to do as a pilot. If like that was if something bad were to happen like that, I mean, what do? You don't really have much options because a lot of your maintenance happens on the ground. Props to the plane pilots that can stay calm in these situations, take control of the situations, but some situations are just uncontrollable, and fortunately it leads to the end.
3.
Martin Air Flight 495. On December 21st, 1992, Martin Air Flight 495 was making a routine cargo flight from Amsterdam to Faro, Portugal.
Cargo flight.
While attempting to land in severe weather conditions, the plane crashed, killing 56 people and injuring many of the 164 on board.
Wow.
The final words captured in the cockpit included repeated phrases like,
Okay. When this 190 was questioned.
Just like in that last one, you could hear the plane get ripped up. I mean, that's That's so terrifying. Like, it literally sends goosebumps every time I hear it. But the thing is, though, like, I feel like being a pilot, you still got to use your common sense. Like, you know, if there are unlandable conditions, I feel like it is smarter to just bank somewhere else if you do have the fuel to bank to a different airport, if it is safer destinational points. I mean, either way, shape, or form, take off the next day to the original airport that you were intending to. But, like, weather conditions can play a huge factor in safety.
2. Comair Flight 327 to January 9th, 1997. Comair Flight 3272 was on its approach to Detroit Metropolitan Airport when it encountered severe icing conditions. The Embraer EMB 120 Brasilia stalled and spiraled out of control, crashing into a field. Investigators determined that insufficient de-icing procedures and lack of pilot awareness contributed to the tragedy. The cockpit voice recorder captured the increasing alarm in the pilots' voices as they struggled to regain control. The last words from this flight were,
"Yeah, I like your low speed indicator. Power."
Auto pilot.
Bank angle.
Autopilot.
This was 1594 Detroit approach, reduce speed to 170,
Autopilot.
Bank angle.
Holy shit! You're fucking die!
That is devastating. Like, he knew it. He knew it was the end. You heard it. Man. The thing is, though, like, in those situations, I mean, if pilot gets told by ground, I feel, that all the icing has been completed, all that kind of stuff. I feel like it's still up to the pilot, though, to make sure everything is correct and accurate before you take off. Kind of wraps back to that other crash that had its flaps down, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like your checklist is the major thing, and as well as your checklist should be continuously changing throughout the season that you're in. Whether it's cold, whether it's really hot, I mean, whether it's super windy, storm conditions, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong in the sky, as whether it's landing, flying midair, or as well as taking off. I mean, anything can happen. That's super sad, though.
1. Delta Airlines Flight 191, August 2nd, 1985. As Delta Airlines Flight 191 approached Dallas, it encountered a deadly microburst, a sudden downdraft of air that slammed the plane into the ground.
Weather conditions.
The pilots
like
struggled
that.
to stabilize the aircraft as warnings filled the cockpit. They fought against the elements, trying to save the passengers and themselves. The moments leading to the crash were a mix of terror and professionalism, as they never gave up until the end. The last words from this flight were,
"Push it up. Push it way up. Way up. Way up. Way up. That's it."
Oh, yeah. Hold up. Right turn off traffic, some mile per hour.
These are the words that echo long after the skies have fallen silent. These final words remind us of the immense pressure pilots face and the human stories behind every tragedy.
And like I said, those weather conditions are unpredictable at any time and point. We're talking about Mother Nature. Mother Nature has been known to be a beast. Whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, anything like that, atmosphericals can change at any time and point. And you may not even know. And also radars might not even pick it up. The thing is about all this is that it is so sad and devastating to listen to these words that was the final goodbye by these pilots. And as well as the people that were on board got to say their final goodbyes before the plane took off. So I think everybody just needs to understand that saying goodbye and I love you to your family, you know, before anything or getting off the phone, stuff like that, it could be the last goodbye. So we need to all understand that every day is not promised and everything that you have now is not always going to be there. Things change, and just like time does, and I mean, time is variable, man, depending on when your time is. Other than that, though, I do want to just say one more time that prayers to those family members and as well as those families that have lost people in those plane crashes throughout the past and as well as the most recent ones. And I think everybody just needs to take a moment of silence after this video to just really give respect to the people that have lost their lives in these tragic incidences. And I mean, Even going back to the factor of like 9/11 was a factor of terrorist attack, but it was still a very, very severe plane crash that really ended with a lot of tragedy. So other than that, I do hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning back in, and see y'all in the next video. Peace.